He said it was just a trip, but he used it to introduce another woman to his family as his fiancée. I remember the exact moment my stomach dropped. It wasn't when he packed his suitcase. It wasn't when he kissed my forehead and said, "It's just a short trip, don't overthink it." It was when his mother posted the picture. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we go any further, if you've ever trusted someone so deeply that you never imagined checking their words, stay with me. And if stories like this make you feel seen, go ahead and like this video. It helps more than you know. Now let me tell you how I became the only woman in the room who didn't know she had already been replaced. We had been together for 3 years. 3 steady, quiet adult years. Not chaotic. Not dramatic. The kind of relationship people envy because it looks stable from the outside. We talked about marriage. We looked at apartments. We discussed baby names once, laughing like it was a joke. But not really. His family knew me. Or at least I thought they did. I had spent holidays with them. His mother hugged me like I was already her daughter-in-law. His sister once said, "You're the only one who's lasted this long." I took that as a compliment. Maybe it was a warning. The trip came up casually one evening. He said his family wanted him to come home for a few days. Just him. Something about helping his father sort out some property paperwork. I didn't question it. Why would I? He kissed my forehead and said, "I'll miss you." That's the thing about betrayal. It rarely looks suspicious in the beginning. The first strange detail was small. He bought new clothes. Not just casual things, tailored shirts. A new watch. Shoes I had never seen him wear before. I teased him about it. "Who are you trying to impress?" He laughed. "My mother. You know how she is." I believed him. The night before he left, he held me closer than usual. He said, "When I get back, we need to talk about our future." I thought he meant something good. I thought maybe this trip was about us. Maybe he was going to ask his family for their blessing. Maybe he was preparing for something serious. I went to bed smiling. The next morning, I drove him to the airport. He didn't seem distant. He didn't seem guilty. He looked calm. That calmness haunts me now. The first 2 days were normal. He texted. He called. He said he missed me. Sent photos of his mother's cooking. Sent a short video of his dad complaining about the weather. Nothing alarming. Then came the 3rd day. I was at home scrolling absent-mindedly when I saw his mother's name pop up on my feed. She had posted something. I almost didn't click it. But I did. And that's when my world split in two. The caption read, "So happy to finally welcome our future daughter-in-law into the family." My heart stopped. There was a picture. A beautifully dressed woman standing beside him. Her hand resting lightly on his chest. His arm around her waist. Both of them smiling. Not awkwardly. Not forced. Comfortably. Like they had practiced that pose. Like they had done it before. Underneath, relatives were commenting. "She's gorgeous. About time. You finally chose well. We can't wait for the wedding." I stared at the screen until it blurred. My name wasn't there. Not in the caption. Not in the comments. Not in the explanation. I zoomed in on his face. That smile. That proud, steady smile. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't obligation. It was intention. My hand started shaking so violently I dropped my phone. I picked it up and checked the date. Posted 30 minutes ago. 30 minutes. For 30 minutes, the world had been congratulating my boyfriend on his engagement, and I was folding laundry in the apartment we shared. I called him. It rang twice. He declined it. My stomach turned cold. I called again. This time he answered. "Hey babe," he said too casually. I couldn't breathe properly. "What is that?" I asked. "What is what?" His tone. That fake confusion. I felt something inside me crack. "The picture," I whispered. "Your mother's post." Silence. Then a sigh. I was going to explain. Explain? Explain what? That I had been deleted? That I had been erased mid-relationship? "That's not what it looks like," he added quickly. I laughed. It sounded unrecognizable. "Hi. Fragile. She's standing with your arm around her. Your family is congratulating you. Your mother called her your future daughter-in-law. What exactly does that look like?" He lowered his voice. "Can we talk about this when I get back?" That's when I realized something horrifying. He didn't sound afraid of losing me. He sounded afraid of inconvenience. "Who is she?" I asked. "Someone I've known a long time." The words hit me like a slap. "How long?" Another pause. "Before you." My chest tightened. "An ex." The ex he once told me not to worry about. The one he said ended badly. The one his mother had always liked. And suddenly everything rearranged itself in my memory. The new clothes. The calmness. We need to talk about our future. He wasn't planning our future. He was negotiating his exit. I'm still with you, he said softly. Still, as if that was generous. So what am I? I asked quietly. You're important to me. Not girlfriend. Not partner. Not future. Important. If you've ever felt your role in someone's life shrink in real time, you know the feeling. It's like watching your reflection fade from a mirror. I ended the call. Not dramatically. Just ended it. And for the first time since we met, I felt completely alone in a relationship that apparently no longer existed. That night, more photos surfaced. Family dinner. Her sitting beside his mother. His sister hugging her. A group picture with the caption. Finally official. Official. I checked his profile. He hadn't posted anything. He didn't need to. His family had done it for him. I didn't sleep. I didn't cry at first. I just stared at the ceiling replaying every moment we had shared. 3 years. 3 years reduced to a placeholder. The next morning, I received a message. From her. I think we should talk. My heart pounded so hard I felt dizzy. How did she get my number? Why was she calm enough to reach out? And what could she possibly have to say to me? I opened the message thread. She had sent a screenshot. It was a message from him. Dated 4 months ago. Give me time. I'll handle it. She doesn't know yet. She added one line under it. I didn't want to find out like this either. My vision blurred. 4 months. 4 months of sleeping beside me. 4 months of planning. 4 months of lying. I realized something terrifying then. I wasn't blindsided. I was managed. He had orchestrated the timing. The trip wasn't random. It was the reveal. And I had been the only one not invited to the announcement. If you're still listening and you feel that tightness in your chest, that disbelief, stay with me. Because this wasn't the end of it. Not even close. That evening, his sister called me. Not to apologize. Not to explain. But to ask something that made my blood run cold. Did you really think it was serious between you two? I didn't answer. Because in that moment, I understood something far worse than betrayal. His family had known. And I had been the only one living in a different reality. And what I found out next made the trip look like the least cruel part of this entire story. Wish I could tell you that I confronted him immediately. I wish I could say I stood up, walked across that living room, and asked him who she was. But shock doesn't make you brave. It makes you still. His mother was the first to speak. Oh good, you're here, she said, smiling too brightly. We were just telling Amara how proud we are of you. Amara. That was her name. The woman smiled at me again, slow, polite, almost sympathetic. And this is? She asked softly, gesturing toward me. My throat tightened. Before I could speak, he answered. This is, he hesitated. That hesitation sliced through me. This is Ada. A family friend. A family friend. I felt my heartbeat in my ears. Family friend. After 3 years. After planning a future. After picking out baby names in the dark and promising we would build something that would outlive both of us. Family friend. His sister avoided my eyes. His father cleared his throat and stared at the floor. His mother kept smiling, but now it looked forced, stretched thin like plastic wrap. Amara's smile shifted. Just slightly. Oh, she said. It's so nice to meet you. Nice to meet me. In the house I had decorated for his birthday last year. In the living room where I had wrapped his mother's swollen legs with warm cloths when the pain got bad. In the space where I had prayed for this family, like they were already mine. I swallowed. Congratulations, I heard myself say, though I don't know how the words formed. He looked at me then. And for a moment, just one flicker of a second, guilt flashed across his face. But he didn't correct it. He didn't say, no, that's not what this looks like. He didn't say, Ada, wait. Instead, he placed his hand gently on Amara's back. The gesture was intimate. Protective. Claiming. We didn't want it to be a big announcement, he said lightly. But since everyone's here. My body felt cold. As if someone had opened a freezer door and pushed me inside. His mother clapped softly. They're getting married in 3 months, she said. 3 months. I remembered the night he held my face in his hands and said, once Mum is stronger, we'll talk about our own wedding. 3 months. He had already chosen a date. He had already chosen a replacement. And I had chosen to believe him. If you're listening to this and you've ever ignored that small voice inside you, the one that whispers something isn't right, please tell me in the comments. I need to know I'm not the only one who mistook silence for loyalty. I stayed for dinner. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to see how far the betrayal would go. Maybe I wanted him to look at me and finally feel something. They talked about venues, guest lists, colors. At one point, Amara laughed and said, "He told me this house holds so many special memories for him growing up." I nearly choked. He had told her stories about this place, but not about me in it. Not about the nights I slept on that couch after long hospital visits. Not about the afternoons I cooked when his mother couldn't stand. I excused myself and walked into the hallway. That's when his sister followed me. "Ada," she whispered. I turned to her. "Did you know?" I asked. Her silence was answer enough. Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't think he'd actually go through with it," she said. "Go through with what?" "He said it was easier this way. That Mum needs stability. That Amara's family has connections. Connections. Money. Status. Everything I didn't have. So I was what?" I asked quietly. "Practice?" She shook her head. "You were real. That's the problem." I laughed, but it came out broken. Real doesn't seem to win these days. When I walked back into the living room, he was standing alone near the window. He looked relieved to see me. Relieved. Like I was about to cooperate. "Ada," he said softly. "Can we talk?" I followed him outside. The night air felt heavy. "This isn't what you think," he started. I stared at him. "Then tell me what it is." He ran his hands through his hair. "Mum's treatment is expensive. Her condition is getting worse. Amara's father offered to help. So you're marrying her for sponsorship?" I asked. "It's not like that. It looks exactly like that." He exhaled sharply. "You wouldn't understand the pressure." I felt something shift inside me then. A clarity I hadn't felt in months. "I gave you 3 years," I said quietly. "I gave your mother my time. My money. My heart. And you think I don't understand pressure?" He looked away. "I didn't plan for it to happen this fast." "But you planned it." Silence. There it was. He had planned it. He just hadn't planned for me to find out like this. "I was going to tell you after the trip," he said. That word again. Trip. Just a trip that changed everything. "After you introduced her as your fiancée?" I asked. He didn't answer. And sometimes silence is louder than any confession. If you've made it this far into my story, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, what would you have done in my place? Because what I did next, even I didn't see coming. And it's the reason this story didn't end the way he thought it would. There's a saying my grandmother used to repeat whenever someone betrayed her trust. When a snake bites you, don't waste time arguing with it. Walk away and let it choke on its own poison. That night, I finally understood what she meant. I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in 3 years, I didn't see my future. I saw a stranger wearing the face of someone I used to love. "You know what hurts the most?" I said quietly. He rubbed his temples. "Ada, please don't. It's not that you're marrying her." He paused. "It's that you let me stand there like a fool. You let me congratulate you." His jaw tightened. "I didn't know you were coming. And if I didn't come?" I asked. "Would you have called me after the engagement dinner? Or would I have found out from Instagram?" He didn't answer. That was all the confirmation I needed. "You said it was just a trip," I whispered. "You packed a suitcase and kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong. It wasn't supposed to hurt you." I actually laughed. "That's funny. Because it destroyed me." The wind picked up slightly, brushing my hair across my face. I wiped my tears before he could see them. Not because I didn't want him to know I was hurt, but because he didn't deserve to witness it. "You chose money," I said calmly. "You chose connections. You chose comfort." He stepped closer. "I chose survival." "No," I corrected him. "You chose convenience. There's a difference." And in that moment I stopped competing. Stopped begging. Stopped trying to understand. I walked back inside without another word. His mother looked at me, confused. "You're leaving already?" "Yes, Ma," I said politely. She studied my face carefully, as if trying to read what had just happened outside. Maybe she already knew. Maybe they all did. Amara stood up gracefully. "It was nice meeting you." I looked at her, really looked at her this time. She wasn't evil. She wasn't cruel. She was simply stepping into a role that used to be mine. And maybe she didn't even know the full truth. "It was," I replied softly. Then I turned to him one last time. "I hope it was worth it." And I left. The drive home was a blur. My hands shook on the steering wheel. My chest felt hollow. But something else was growing underneath the pain. Dignity. When I got home, I didn't cry immediately. I packed. Not his things. Mine. Every memory. Every gift. Every photo frame. I placed them in a box and carried it to the balcony. I stared at it for a long time. Then I did something dramatic. Something symbolic. I deleted every picture. 3 years. Gone. If you've ever had to erase someone who once meant everything to you, comment below and tell me how you survived it. Because that night I didn't feel strong. I just felt tired. He called. Again and again. I didn't answer. Then came the messages. Please let's talk. You're overreacting. You know it's not like that. Overreacting. That word. As if betrayal has a normal reaction. As if heartbreak should be measured and polite. I blocked him. His family too. And for the first time in months, I slept without waiting for a goodnight text. 2 weeks later, something unexpected happened. His sister showed up at my door. She looked pale. Ada, she said urgently. He's not okay. I felt my heart skip. Not because I still loved him, but because trauma doesn't disappear overnight. What do you mean? I asked. The wedding, it's moving fast. Amara's family is controlling everything. He looks miserable. I crossed my arms. And, she hesitated. He thought you'd fight for him. That almost made me smile. He replaced me. He didn't think you'd walk away. There it was again. That assumption. That I would stay. Beg. Compete. I shook my head slowly. You tell your brother something for me, I said calmly. The woman he thought would fight for him died the night he introduced me as a family friend. Her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know. And I meant it. Because sometimes the family isn't the villain. The person who made the choice is. 3 months later, the wedding pictures flooded social media. He looked polished, dressed in white, smiling. But I've known that smile for 3 years. And I could see it. The tightness around his eyes. The stiffness in his posture. He married security, not love. And maybe that's enough for some people. But it wasn't enough for me. Here's the part he didn't expect. I didn't break. I didn't spiral. I rebuilt. I took the energy I used to pour into his family and poured it into myself. I applied for the promotion I was afraid to go for. I started therapy. I reconnected with friends I had neglected. And slowly, painfully, I started recognizing myself again. The woman who loved deeply, but would never again accept crumbs disguised as commitment. 6 months later, I ran into him at a mutual friend's event. He looked thinner, older. He froze when he saw me. Ada, he said softly. I nodded politely. How have you been? Peaceful, I replied. That word hit him harder than any insult. He swallowed. I made a mistake. I tilted my head slightly. No, I said gently. You made a choice. There's a difference. He looked down. Are you happy? He asked. And for the first time since everything happened, I smiled, not out of pride, not out of revenge, but because it was true. Yes, I said. And I walked away. If you're watching this and you've ever been introduced as just a friend by someone who promised you forever, if you've ever been replaced quietly while still believing you were chosen, let me tell you something. Their decision is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their character. He said it was just a trip. But that trip revealed who he truly was. And sometimes the worst heartbreak becomes the greatest protection. Because imagine if I had married him. Imagine finding out after children. After vows. After years. Sometimes exposure is painful. But it's also a gift. If this story touched you in any way, don't forget to like this video so more people can see it. Subscribe to the channel for more real, emotional stories like this. Share it with someone who needs the reminder that walking away is sometimes the strongest thing you can do. And please tell me in the comments, what would you have done? Because one thing I've learned is this. When someone shows you who they are on just a trip, believe them. And choose yourself.